Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And sorry, I'm a couple seconds late here hopping on. The dog groomer, of course, just showed up. So I was frantically trying to run the dog out to make sure that she got her grooming done today. So today I'm going to show you how I made a card really quickly with the Always and In My Heart stamp set. And it's one of those from the mini catalog, which it's the January to June mini, which is currently live from Stampin' Up. And it's another one of those really good sets. It comes in a bundle, but I'm not actually using the bundle pieces today, just the stamp set and a couple of other dies. So let's go ahead and get rolling on what we're going to talk about today. So, all right, so this is the card we're making. It's an anniversary card. Kind of basic, but I like the little extra shimmer that was on this one, so hopefully y'all like it too. Hey, Karen, thanks for hopping in today. I appreciate you being here. So this is the Always in My Heart stamp set. I love it that it's photopolymer, so you can see through it, and it's got the two-step stamping, so the little images that line up. You can stamp two different colors or the same color or whatever it is that you like to do with them. And we've got a happy anniversary, a Be My Valentine, a couple of other sentiments. So again, just a good general card, or one for anything, you know, anniversary, wedding, Valentine's Day, any of those types of things, all good to go. So hey, Cindy and Debbie and Bree and anybody else. Hopefully, I don't know if Pam is here as well. So thanks for joining today. I appreciate y'all being here. Oh, Linda is here too. So woohoo! Hopefully she's eating a little bit of cake up there. So all right. What else do I have here? Oh, a couple of die sets that I used. I used the Hippo and Friends dies, and this is the die set, the die that I used in particular, which is the second largest. Well, it's the middle one of the kind of rounded die cuts. I don't even know what shape these are. So it's one of those where I'm like, yeah, you know, I don't know what the shape of it is, but we're all good. And then I've got one of the stitched rectangle dies. I use that for a couple of the die cuts here as well. So I use the larger one for this die cut, and actually you will see that the sizes don't exactly match, but there's a really easy fix because it was all hidden under the layers. I just chopped these into two pieces and then hid the little gap in between them. I did the same thing on this one because this one doesn't fit either. So this is the second largest one that I used. I just chopped the little pieces in half and then stuck them on the card front, layered over the top of it, and nobody knows anything different. So hey, Jeanne and Marilyn, thanks so much for joining today. I appreciate you being here. All right, so let me set aside the die sets as well. And a couple things to talk about. We've got the Hey Chick and the Hey Birthday Chick stamp set bundles that are available from Stampin' Up! Through June 30th. So if you have questions about this is out on the sidebar of my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. So go take a peek at it. You can find these items in the online store. This stamp set is in the January to June mini catalog, but the rest of the items are not. They're only available in the online store right now. So go take a look at it and let me know if you have questions. And then we have the Butterfly Bouquet stamp set. Suite of products. I don't know. The product collection, I guess, is what they called it. So we've got the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set bundle, which is a very pretty stamp set and a wonderful set of dies that coordinates with it, that you can get bundled together and save 10%. These two items are actually going to be in the next annual catalog, so you will be able to purchase them a little later if you would like to, but don't want to get them right now. The Natural Touch specialty paper, the Butterfly Bijou paper is already sold out, so that one's gone, unfortunately, but the Natural Touch specialty paper will not be in the next annual catalog. That is only available while supplies last through the 3rd of May. So make sure that you're getting that if that's something you're interested in. So, hey, Akiko, thanks so much for joining today. All right, let's get moving. I think that's about all that I have to talk about at the very moment. And again, all the details for this are going to be posted on my blog tomorrow, and I will share a link in this video as soon as I have the blog post up in the morning, so you can refer back to that as far as the sizes and die cuts and all that sort of thing that I use, so you'll be able to find all those details tomorrow. All right, let us start with a piece of Designer Series paper. So on the background of the card, I use from the True Love Designer Series paper pack. I have this piece cut to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 inches. And if I got that wrong, I think I said it the right way. Then I will post the right ones out on my blog tomorrow. And a piece of basic white cardstock that I'm going to adhere it to. And the basic white is cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to try to get it on here fairly straight. So again, ahead of time, I'd done a little bit of die cutting. So this is some of the Always in My Heart specialty. I think that's what it's called. Always in my heart. I'm pretty sure when I say that, all of a sudden I'm having like a moment, a senior moment. I think it's always in my heart. Specialty paper, but this is in the, it's in with the same, all the same products right up in the front of the catalog with the suite of products that are up there. And I cut this with one of the stitched rectangle dies. Again, it's the largest one of the narrow rectangles, if that makes sense to you. So it's this larger rectangle that I used here. And because I needed it to stretch a little bit to fit on the card front the way I wanted it to, I just took my paper snips and kindly hacked it right in half. I did leave a little bit more towards the top just because, again, the way the layout for my card worked, but you could probably cut it in half and still get away with it. I just didn't want to take a chance of having it not work out the way that I planned it to, and then have a little gap in there that I didn't necessarily want showing. All right, so we're going to adhere this with some Stampin' Seal, and the other little piece here down at the bottom, again with Stampin' Seal, and I'm leaving the little gap in the middle. And the one nice thing about having the little images on here that line up nicely is that it makes it easier for lining it up when you're putting the two pieces together as well. So this is some of the True Love True Love Designer Series paper. I'm sorry, it's a black and white paper. That's again in the same suite of products. Hey, Marilyn Teal. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to call you Mary. I think that's your name. So, I'm going to do the same thing with this piece of paper. I've pre-cut it with the second largest of the narrow stitched rectangles. And so I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it here. I know that I need it to be a little bit more towards the right-hand side, just because, again, the placement of my sentiment. And I'm just going to chop it right in two, and then adhere the two pieces together, or two pieces to the card front with Stampin' Seal. Now, when I'm lining this up, I'm actually going to take it over here to the very edge of the designer paper, and then make sure that I've got my gap here in the middle covered, and smoosh that down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, just hopefully get the Stampin' Seal to roll. And again, with this one, I need to make sure on the smaller one, because it is fairly square, not perfectly square, just make sure you're lining up your stitched edges in the right place. You don't want to turn like that and have a raw hacked off edge on the card front showing. So, all right, so again, I'm going to do the same thing over here, where I'm going to line up. And again, using the diamonds over here to line up with the diamonds over here, make sure that I've got it fairly straight. And then line it up here with the edge of my designer paper and stick it down, and you're all good. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining. And Terry, I appreciate you being here. And you love my videos? Oh, that's sweet. I always wonder what people think of them, because I usually just ramble on through the whole thing, and I think, I'm sure people are like, be quiet, lady. So, all right, so I've got some linen thread, and I'm going to wrap it around the card front 3 times. I don't know why 3 was the magic number today, but it was. I guess because I wanted a little wider piece of linen thread out there, and then I'm going to chop it with my paper snips and tie a little bow, hopefully, with one of the heart charms. Again, these are all from that same product suite up in the front of the mini catalog, the Stampin' Up! Mini catalog. These are pretty little charms, and they're just basically a little heart that has a hole in the middle, so you can easily tie it inside the knot like I'm going to do here, hopefully. Just going to slide one of the pieces of twine or linen thread through the hole here, and then I'm going to tie this into part of my knot before I start working on trying to do the pretty bow part of it. So hopefully I can get this in here and get my fingers to cooperate and turn the heart the right way. There we go. It's always more challenging when I'm doing it live. I can sit here, by myself in the quiet and, have it tie easily the first time, but sometimes it takes me more than once when I'm doing live. But this one, I think the bow is turning out reasonably well. Just as it is. Obviously, I have one side that's a lot longer than the other one, so I'm going to just snip it off and trim it up fairly even. And I can always trim these a little bit more later if I decide that it's still too long. But I want to leave it a little bit longer till I get everything put together on the card front, and then kind of decide what it looks like after the fact, whether I like it a little longer or want them chopped off a little bit. All right, so that's most of the card front that we have done. Next up, I'm going to do a little Stampin'. This is Sahara Sand cardstock. Try to get my mess cleaned up here. And I'm going to use Versamark ink in one of the sentiments from the Always in My Heart stamp set. Just plain old Mary. Okay, I was hoping that was right. And then but sometimes, people, I don't know. It's so hard to tell with names that people put out on Facebook at places like that. So, all right, so I've got Versamark ink, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment here. And again, placement doesn't really matter because I'm going to be die cutting this. The only thing I want to make sure is I don't get down too close to either the sides or get down too close to the bottom, because I'm going to be cutting it out with kind of a larger die. I've got gold Stampin' Emboss powder that I'm going to be using to heat emboss the image. Just scooping it right out of my little container that I've got it in and putting it on the card front, or putting it on the panel, and then shaking off all the little extra pieces. The embossing powders, as they are currently configured, are actually on the Stampin' Up! Retiring list. However, they are coming back. We're not going to be without embossing powders, thank goodness. They're just reconfiguring them in the way that they are having them for sale. They're going to have them grouped together by colors, and by the metallics are all together, and the white and the black and clear are together. So they're going to be bundled together in a group rather than available individually. So definitely happy to see that we aren't losing all of our embossing powders. I kind of had a moment when the when the retiring list came out and all of the embossing powders were on it. So, all right, we're just going to do a little heat embossing here. Hopefully you can see as it starts to turn shiny and gold, that means that it's done cooking. And you don't want to overcook it because you can burn your embossing powders. All right, I think we are all good on that. Okay, I'm going to give it a second here to cool off before I run it through the die cutting machine. All right. Hey, Linda, glad you're here, and glad you were able to catch me live. So, all right, so again, I'm going to use from the Hippo and Friends dies. This is the second large, well, it's the middle one that looks sort of like a circle, but it's got little bumps on it. I don't know how to describe it other than the bumpy circle, but hopefully you know which one I'm talking about. So I'm just going to take this and line it up here right around my sentiment and run it through the die cutting machine, which is over here to my right-hand side. Hopefully y'all are enjoying your day, and thanks for hopping in a little early today. My younger daughter is actually on spring break this week, and so we had kind of a change to our normal schedule on Tuesdays, and so I had to hop on a little bit earlier than I normally do. So I appreciate y'all being here and being flexible with the schedule. All right, so we've got the sentiment all die cut out here, and I'm going to take Sahara Sand ink, and this is one of the leaf images from the Always in My Heart stamp set. And I'm just going to ink it and stamp one time up here towards the top. And then do a second one down here towards the bottom. Oops, and I think I just stuck my fingers in the ink. Very handy. I don't know if y'all saw the picture that I posted over the weekend, but yeah, I got into the green ink, and I don't even know how I did it, but I had green ink on all of my fingers on my left hand and some on my right hand, and I was just a mess. So thank goodness for soap and water. And it did take care of most of it, but it really took until the following day when all of the green finally came off my fingers. So it looked a little crazy for a minute or a day. So, all right, I'm using some Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere this onto the card front. And I'm trying to be careful not to put the Stampin' Dimensionals right in the middle of the, looks like there are a couple that didn't get embossed. I think we're good. So, using a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm just gonna, I placed them kind of up high and down low on the little die cut here because I'm gonna place it over the top of my twine or my linen thread. So I wanna make sure that I don't have a weird lump in there. And I'm hoping it's just the camera that makes it look like it's not embossed right. But yeah, I think for me it looks like they're embossed okay, so I think we're good. All right, next up I've got a couple of rhinestones that I'm just going to adhere around here on the card front. I'm going to put one here near the sentiment. Whoop, maybe. If I can get it to stay where I want it to be. And then another one sort of off to the side here. And that's basically it for the card front, so it's super easy and pretty simple to do. Got a couple Stampin' Dimensionals. And hey, thanks, Jan. It's actually for a sketch challenge, and you'll see if you check out my blog post for tomorrow, you'll see the sketch. That's where a lot of the inspiration for the layouts and things on my cards come from. I struggle a lot with the kind of design. If I didn't use sketch challenges to kind of push me a little bit to do different designs, I'd probably have the same exact card designed with just different papers and things on it. But it's really nice to have something that's sort of a, the layout is all done for me, and all I have to do is put the pieces together, and it's good to go. All right, so I have adhered this to a Sahara sand card base. I did adhere this one. This is a different card base. My original one is one that opens, it's a top fold card. This one's going to be a side fold card. So the card base originally was 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. This card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. But it all ends up being the same math and the same layout. It's just a little different way. One opens on the side and one opens on the top. So it depends on which one your favorite is. That's one you can go with. All right, I've got Sahara Sand ink and the sentiment from the Always in My Heart stamp set. I'm just inking it up with Sahara Sand. We're going to stamp it hopefully nicely here on this piece of paper. The one nice thing is the sentiment is a little curvy, so you don't have to be quite as worried about getting it exactly straight because it's got a little curve in it, and nobody's going to be able to tell unless you stamp it really crazy that it's not exactly straight. So basic white cardstock, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and then I've got a little piece of the Always in My Heart specialty designer paper that is cut to about 5/8 of an inch wide, and this is about 6 inches long, but I am going to definitely trim it down to fit onto the 4-inch wide piece. So I usually do it a little bit longer just because it's easier for me to kind of maneuver it around and make sure it's in the right spot before I stick everything down. And we're just going to trim this off with paper snips, get it even at the edge, and do a little Stampin' Seal on the back. And we'll be done putting the card together. So don't forget, Stampin' Up's retiring list from the annual catalog has been posted. So be sure that you're taking a peek out in the online store. The items out there, other than the stamp sets, which are guaranteed to be available through April 23rd, everything else listed out there on that retiring list, whether it's on sale or not, is only available while supplies last. So make sure you're getting out and getting everything ordered that you want out of that catalog before it goes away for good on May 3rd. So that is the end of the annual catalog. It's ending a little bit early this year. They're changing the catalog cycles just a little bit. So the new annual catalogs are actually going to be coming out here. I get to order them on Thursday, and then I'll be sending them out to all of my customers just as soon as I get the catalogs in. Hopefully I'll have them in about 7 to 10 days, depending on how quickly UPS gets them here. And I'll pack them up and send them right back out to you guys just as soon as I get my hands on them. So thanks so much for joining today. Let me know if you have any questions on anything. Again, I'll be posting all the details for this card on my blog tomorrow, and I'll share a link to the blog post here in the video so you'll be able to go take a peek at everything that I used. And hopefully, if you have any questions, just holler. And hey, Nancy's sneaking in at work. I love it. So I won't tell, I promise. All right. Thanks so much to everybody for hopping in today. I will plan to be live. I'm hoping it'll be around 2 o'clock on Friday out on my YouTube channel, but because it's spring break, I can't guarantee. So just keep an eye on it. I will post if I'm going to do it at a different time, but otherwise I'll plan to be live at 2 o'clock. And then next week, Tuesday, I'll plan to be live here on my Facebook channel at my normal time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. So I appreciate y'all being here. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll chat soon.